Howdy doody. You see me alright? Yeah, of course you can. Oscar's barking. You know, why change any of that? That's JB, isn't it? Well, I'd like to say thank you for to everyone who watches my channel, whether you've met me in person or not. And to all those ones who've met me and know me and have got my phone number, I'd like to say thank you to everybody for your meaningful and kind words of support. You know, you wanted raw. Hey, they wanted raw. And yeah, I'm going to smoke. Even with Dougie. I know it's wrong. But you know what? It's even wrong when Dougie poops in his water. I've got no sound because I don't want YouTube to copyright me. I just recently got a message on one of my videos I put up, and it's regarding a couple of people. Mike especially, he's a young kid, right, over in America. And he's going through some dramas, you know, blew with his dad. And his father reached out to me. I woke up, you know, as you can tell, not that long ago. Asking me, JB, can you please help me? Can you talk to Mike, please? And I've talked to Mike, and you know, the kid's not even 17, you know, so to be able to understand what he's going through, right? That's pretty easy for me to understand. I can understand that. I was 17. Want a cup of tea? There you go. That's enough. I think the problem is, no, it's not the thing, it is the problem. The problem is the youth of today, not even the youth. You only have to go to people who, you know, I'm 53. You only have to go back 10 years, so someone who's 43, you know, they're younger than me. They've had a different upbringing, you know, they've been infected by societies or the minority out there on how things are, you know, how things should be, you know. So to give any advice to someone who hasn't taken the time to look at everything in life and what it has to offer and the ups and downs and to give understanding to how things have happened or how things have turned out, or why things turned out like that. Read books, understand history, understand both sides, good or bad, victim and, perpetrator, if you want. In my words, cunt, if you're a fucking, an ass. If you hurt innocence. If you just go out and be a dickhead for no reason. That impacts on people's lives, on what you just did, that you did for a laugh. It's hard for them to understand what I'm trying to say, or not even what I'm trying to say, just what older people are trying to say to them, because they don't want to take it on board. And it just comes down to one thing: why they're not listening, why they're not changing their ways. It's just really, it's not even youth, it's just a lot of people. I shouldn't put an age on things, but we've created, not all of us, but a new wave of parenting, a new way of teaching, a new way of policing, a new way of governing, a new way of just doing things has instilled into people of a new way of not taking fucking responsibility for your actions or what you've fucking said, and not taking any understanding that, driving that fucking car through a red light, or just, not being appropriately dressed, the basic standard before you leave the house, to look at yourself in the fucking mirror and just go, no, I don't think this is appropriately dressed to go to court, to, sit in the magistrate's court, or in a court in front of a judge, whatever, or to go to a job interview looking like a fucking slob. If you don't take your due diligence and responsibility into your appearance and the way you speak, in different surroundings, knowing that you're going there, and even if your surroundings just change, to take a minute to see it's just changed, so maybe change the way you talk or the way you present, and that, then you're a fucking arsehole. You really are. If your only agenda is to just think about you, then fuck off. It's not fucking hard for me to say. You wanted raw, I'll give you fucking raw. And that, I lost my friend. We all, I really don't know what's going to happen with this video. All I'm trying to get across is this, is I could sit here and I could tell you everything that's happened in my life, and let me tell you, like most people, just not me, but this video's me talking, so we'll just concentrate on this section of the video about me. Yep. But before I do, I have full understanding that other people have gone through far worse, maybe far less, than me. I will be a smart ass right at that point. There wouldn't be fucking many of you that have done it any harder than me. I do know of people who've done it harder than me, and those types of people, we're drawn to each other. You know why? It's because we get up. We might sit around for a little bit and mope and reflect on things, curl up in a ball and hold our head. We don't cry a lot, not even alone. I can count on one hand how many times I've really cried. And I mean really cried, like now, this type of crying. And people like myself, we're drawn to each other because we see it in each other, that there's a need to get up. There's a fight inside of us, whether we've lost hope, whether we think, fuck it, let's just check out. There's a fight that is inside of us that is so fucking strong that we just can't do it. Yeah, all right, I tried. I put a gun in my mouth. I pulled the fucking trigger, you all know that. But something went wrong. I laughed, I moved for a minute. And I might add that I also had my motorcycle helmet on, right? And the reason why I had my motorcycle helmet on was so I didn't, whoever found me wasn't confronted with an absolute fucking mess, okay? Which says to a lot of people when I say that I wasn't being selfish when I was about to take my own life. I was still thinking of other people. Which also says that in anything I do, or anything that people like myself do, we don't think of ourselves first. At that moment, I thought I'd put my motorcycle helmet on and blow my fucking brains out. And people want to turn around and take from that I was selfish, or people like myself, or people who are selfish, especially if they've taken, you know, the time to write notes saying, do not come into this room, and notes are coming along like this all the way. Do not open this door, do not call the police, do not come in here, do not come in here. They're warning their partner or their friend, you know, that they don't want, that just stop, something is wrong, something's happened, we don't want you to see it. You know, and you want to think that those people who have succeeded in suicide, you know, are selfish. The one and only time they've probably, that you call being selfish, they're still thinking of other people. And that's missed. You don't remember all the notes that were, or the fact that they did it in the bathroom, or they hung themselves in the garage or something, so it wasn't in the home. Or they put a motorcycle helmet on, so the fucking brain matter didn't fucking hit the ceiling and blow out all the back. They've taken that time to set up the surroundings so it's as minimal of mess as possible, or shock, and then people just go, it was selfish. Fuck off. for those people who've survived it, like me, to come out and people still think I'm selfish, or people think that people like myself are selfish, you're fucking mental. You're the ones that are selfish. You're the ones that can't see past your own fucking nose. And that the only act, the last act that if you can use such a word in this case, where I really didn't have to give a fucking fuck about anyone else at that point in time, was right fucking then. I'm about to take my own life. And I remember, and I take steps to minimise the trauma that's going to be inflicted on people who find me, and the mess and everything. I take the time to do all of that, and then take my own life. And all people can remember is that I was selfish. It was easy. He took the easy way out. Oh, fuck your fucking heads. It's not fucking easy. If there's a time in life where I don't have to give a fuck about anybody, and for those people who are contemplating suicide and they still think like this to minimise the trauma of what other people are going to see, that's the time when we shouldn't be giving a fuck. It's my life that I'm going to take. But I'm still thinking about other people. To minimise the trauma on them. But I've taken my life. And you think I'm fucking selfish? You think people who've done that, who've taken the steps like that, are selfish? When their last fucking thought was for everybody else. If you can understand that. You know what's selfish? I'll tell you what's selfish. When people who commit suicide and they haven't fucking done the groundwork to why they're feeling like this, to how they ended up like this, they just haven't fucking bothered to do anything. They haven't even gotten up off the fucking couch, the lazy cunts. They've just gone, not fucking fuck it, I'm checking out. Good on ya. Fucking go. If you're that fucking weak, then I don't want ya. If you're not going to fucking try in the fucking critical point of your life at a decision that you're making, if you are not going to fight that fucking feeling to understand why you're feeling like that, to what's brought it on, to how to get out of it, and fucking try. Do the fucking groundwork. Drag your fucking balls across glass. I couldn't give a fuck. Grab your tits and fucking burn them. To change your outlook. If you haven't done that and you've just got up and you've just gone, fuck it. I don't give a fuck. And you make a mess. You leave a mark. So people can see what you've done. Fuck off. Good riddance. You're selfish. I didn't do that. And I know a lot of people who didn't do that either. And there's a lot of people out there now that are fucking contemplating it right now as I make this fucking video. There'll also be a lot of people that are gone that have completed suicide before the end of this video. I'm not saying suicide's the right way. But you tell me what the right way is. What's the right way? Huh? Yeah, I'm angry. People might look at this video and go, fuck, he's just lost his friend, it's all right. He's not thinking straight. No, I'm thinking straight. I don't think fucking wiggly lines. I don't blow up. I don't, ooh, fuck, I don't lose it, mate. There's people in the world like that. I understand people like that. I want to die today. I want to die right now. Right fucking now. I want to die. You know what I don't have? I don't have the fucking strength to fight against the fight that stopped me from doing it. That's what I'm angry about. That is exactly what I'm angry about. The fight that is protecting me from taking my life is, you have no idea, that fight. That fight. And as I said to Mary, I said, every fight has to end. Your strength has to falter. I look at this world through my eyes. Yeah, through my eyes, but not my opinion. I have an opinion on how I'd like to live. I have an opinion how I'd like to see the world. But then I also understand the facts of life and how it should be. And we should all be nice. We should all be understanding. We should all be on the same fucking boat when it comes to fucking dickheads in this world. What makes it fucking right for a man with a penis to wear a fucking schoolgirl dress and go into the fucking girls' toilets? What makes that right? What, because he feels like it? What makes it right for the Palestinians, to fucking have these peaceful fucking protests and these stay-ins at these universities all around the world? What makes that fucking right? To inconvenience other people on other ends of the world other than fucking where it's happening, right? Everywhere. Why should we be inconvenienced? Why can't they just get up and go back to Palestine or Israel and fucking sort it out on their home turf? Fight it there. Don't fight it here. The world is an ever-evolving, changing place. Some people see it straight down the line. I do. I might speak quite harshly sometimes, and stuff. And I've said some things, but in the heat of the moment, I don't get the heat of the moment. I don't get adrenaline rushes. I don't lose it. I don't get upset. I just know, right, that's it. That's happy. Yep, laugh. That's sad. That's okay. Right, I understand that. Emotions, yep, like that. But you know what? I said to someone on the phone, I was talking to them, and I said, a friend of mine, said something about, and I don't want to go into it because I don't want to know who I'm actually talking about, and if I say it too much, they're going to figure it out. But anyway, right, their partner, had said something, right, and I turned around and I, in my head, this is what I said. In my head, it didn't come out of my mouth, right? What came out of my mouth was totally different. But I have said this in the past, and I can actually bring up that situation where I've said this, right? So years and years ago, I was involved in an incident. It was physical incident and stuff. We were all in the right, and that there was, the police were involved and stuff. There was someone died and stuff, big fucking deal. The cunt deserved to die anyway. Right? Anyway, the partner of that person, she was a cunt anyway, right? And they were just a cunt breed people, right? Anyway, so coppers there, everything else like that. And this fucking thing, and then the victim's mother rocked up and everything else like that, you know, and it was quite heated, right? And I was just the only one standing there, along with another mate. We were pretty much quiet, you know. Mind you, we were the main contenders in it, right? And everyone knew it. We weren't hiding or anything, right? And you know, let me just tell you, it worked out where we weren't in the wrong. They were being a fucking idiot. They were going to do something fucking stupid, and we just stepped in and stopped it. And it just happened to turn out where that person passed away because of our actions stopping them, and also their actions pushing forward on it. And they were just from it, you know, those families, you know, those people out there. We just look at them and just go, "What a cunt of a fucking existence of a family," you know, honestly. Anyway, so his mum was fucking squawking. His father knew. His father was a decent bloke. He's standing there going, "Yeah, I knew this day was going to come." My son was a dickhead, right? Absolute fucking dickhead, right? The mother, on the other hand, she was like, going off, foul mouth, had a gutter mouth on her, right? Anyway, I'm getting to it. And they were just squawking, right? I'm standing there with my mate and, you know, a couple of other people while the police are all fucking trying to hold us back. Not that I was pushing, not that he was pushing. And it's just the pitch, that certain pitch, that squawk that came out of her fucking mouth, his partner's mouth, that certain high-pitched fucking, that squawk, right? And the mother and the words that came out, and I just boomed. You want to know what I said? This is what I said. I said to the fucking husband, right? Because now her partner's dead, so now that's his daughter-in-law, yeah? And that's his wife. You know what I said? You want to shut your fucking cunts up? Can you just tell your two cunts to shut up? And there was complete and utter fucking silence. You might all be sitting there now going, Jesus. The reason why that man lost his life that night, or that day, was because he got into a fight. We weren't even involved in it. We did nothing, but we knew the family, you know. And he decided to get in his car. And he was going to mow down a group of children that were playing in a park that were all siblings to the people that he was arguing with, and we could see this. He went back to the car park, so we ran to the car. And when we got to the car to stop him, without intention of, you know, just to stop him, not to kill him, just to stop him, he accelerated, and I was on the bonnet. My mate was hanging from the passenger side window that was open. We were getting dragged along. I reached through and I grabbed the steering wheel and I pulled the steering wheel down to his right, which by luck just happened to drive him straight into a tree and stop the car. Threw me off the bonnet for a second, then I jumped back on the bonnet. As I looked through, he's opening up the glove box and he was pulling a gun out. And he was aiming it at my mate, who was a bit concussed, or a bit rattled, because he's hanging onto the door and he's just been fucking dragged, and then, you know, his head hit the fucking pillar of the car when the tree hit the car hit the tree. Well, I was in a position where I jumped through and I grabbed him around the neck and, yeah, ended. You do what you got to do. Does that one haunt me? No. I think more about taking a shit than that. So you all know I'm going through a bit of pain due to the loss the tragic loss of Glenn Cartwell. He was a mate. He was a good mate. But he was more than that. You know what he was? He was my best friend. And he was the same as me. He was. It's very hard to find people who have the same views and the same thoughts and the same, you know, outlook on life at things. We all have opinions, and you know, we used to throw them around, but at the same time, it was factual opinions on how things should be and stuff like that, because we've seen so much in our life. And he created a family with that Moto GC, as he used to say. His wife was the breadwinner. His bike shop was just a hobby. It just paid for his bikes and the love of bikes and gave people jobs and employment and careers. When you walked into that shop, it was like walking into a home with a nice wood stove going. It was warm. It was welcoming. And it was a bike shop. Just a bike shop. No one rushed you. No, they never rushed anybody. No one to buy a bike. Even if people didn't know what the place was about. First timers there, going to buy a bike, they walked in, no one rushed them. Like at Peter Stevens or some of these new fucking bike shops now, they couldn't give a fuck. You could drop $100,000 there today and then go back tomorrow. They don't even know your name. They wouldn't even know what they fucking sold you yesterday. That happened to me. No, Glenn, bike shop, and he learnt from Nova Honda about that, creating a family, a bike family. But anything that Glenn would have done, any business other than a bike shop, would have been the same thing. You could go and talk to the mechanics. He didn't mind, even if they were working on other bikes, and they were. He's flat out. He's got that much work. You know, it's a 6 week wait. A 6 week wait to get your bike serviced. That's how good his mechanics are. And not just that, it's just how good the environment is. You feel welcome. He made you feel that you had some worth. Even if you had nothing in your pocket, or broke, on drugs, lost. He offered you a drink. They all did. There was lollies there, bickies. Everyone who worked there was all from all different walks of life and suffering. No one hid it. They all said hello, meaningful hello. They asked how you are, meaningful asked how you are. Ready for the answer to come back, to have a conversation. Not, oh yeah, how are you, mate? Yeah, good, okay, and you've answered it before them. How many people do you know who do that? How are you, mate? You good? Yeah, okay, see ya, no worries. And that person hasn't even answered them yet. That's a typical Harley dealership these days. That's a typical bike shop, not just Harley. That's a typical bike shop attitude these days. Yep, can I help you, mate? How are you? Good? All good? No worries. I'll just be over there. Okay, mate, no worries. Take care. Yep, all right. Yeah, bloke's just barely walked in the fucking door. So this video is about, for Mike, and just people in general. I don't know how to fucking say this, but I'm not a fucking counsellor, yeah? Okay? And as Glenn and I, we went through you know, we've been through shit in our lives, obviously different, but we've known people. He's even known. Especially with me, you know, we had a very special friendship. He knew exactly everything I'd done in my life, what I'd seen, where I'd been, intricate details. If you go on YouTube, I was sitting in the garage one night. It was about 2:30 in the morning, sucking on my meth pipe. Medicating to feel numb. And Glenn sends me a text saying, "Hey mate," or "Hey buddy." That's how he used to say, "Hey buddy, look this thing up on YouTube." And it's called by Giacomo, Into the Ring of Fire. It's a podcast that goes for 3.5 hours. It's about a 21-year-old sniper serviceman in the army, and he was over in Iraq or Quantadar, right? And I'm looking at it because he was awake working on his bike because he was depressed, fighting his demons. And then he rings me and he says, "Hey," he said, "watch that video." And he said, "And if you don't cry," he said, "you're not human. If you don't cry, you don't care anymore." I watched that video and I bawled my eyes out because I had been in similar situations like that, and Glenn knew that I was low, and he must have scoured the fucking internet to just find something that I could relate to. And he did. And I watched that video with Giacomo, Into the Ring of Fire. And I saw him the next day. I had a shower. I went and saw him. And he's going, "What do you think of the video?" I just gave him a hug. Said thanks. He's gone, "No worries, buddy." So what I'm trying to say is this, right? After all of that, yeah. If you don't try, I'm sick of telling people it's as easy as this. You either give up or you get up. I understand it's hard to get up, but it's easy to fucking lay down. I lay down for a time and I get back up. If I could extinguish that fight that makes me get back up, that won't let me take my life, I would. I'd get rid of it, because this pain, I wish I could take that fight, that strength of that fight that's protecting, that's stopping me from taking my life. I wish I could take that strength and that fight and put it into another area of my life and fight to make it, not to take my life. because it's just a waste of fight, in my opinion, to have that much strength. Quite a few times a day to not take my life. The strength that must have, that doesn't let me take my own life. I wish I could just grab that strength and put it to other avenues, because it's just such a waste. That it's just there stopping me and other people that have this same fight in them from taking their life. I guarantee you, all those other people who have the same fight in them, that's stopping them from taking their life, I bet you they'd all be saying the same thing. Yep, he's right. I wish we could take that fight and put it in another goal and just channel it in another way. It's such a waste. That's my opinion anyway, and I'm sure many others would think the same thing. I give a fuck about people, alright? I really do. But losing Glenn, Mary's my partner, but she's not my rock, if you can understand that. Glenn was my rock, and I know that I was his rock too. In certain areas, you know, Glenn was my rock there, but not my rock there. Someone else is my rock there. We all have those different rocks. So get up. Stop fucking whinging. Go and search. Stop asking questions and just get out there and see. Stop trying to hear and just listen. So on that note, go get a pie and do this. Being inappropriate, but appropriate. Are you ready? Erection. It's inappropriate, but it's appropriate. You know why? Because it's covered. So stop being stop being a fucking moron where it's inappropriate all the way, because you know why? Because you've got it out. Go get a pie.